It's a parade? And it's $25 million?
Let them have it.
Parades with military equipment, heavy tanks, artillery, those things cause damage.
I think they definitely should do it more often.
That's a lot of money for a parade.
They spend a lot of money on a lot of other things. I think this is a worthy cause.
That is absolutely a good cause.
I wish our tax dollars weren't paying for it, but I wish our tax dollars weren't paying for a lot of things.
Complete waste of money, not worth it.
There's issues with our budget, so that is definitely expenditures that we should not be embarking on.
Sounds like a lot of money. We have a lot of people sleeping on the street.
It's a waste of a significant amount of money, in my opinion, for someone's ego.
I don't really have an opinion based on the costs of things.
They defend our rights, our freedoms here in America. I don't see that as a big expense.
I find it surprising that it's going to be on his birthday.
So that's an interesting coincidence.
That just happens to be a coincidence.
It sounds like it's more of a celebration of him.
I don't know why we wouldn't be able to celebrate both.
I'm all for it.
Now that's a fucking barb. That is a barb. Playing Beyonce, California, at a Trump stand is fucking crazy. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, you know what? No, I am gonna leave. What the I'm sorry. Are we in fucking Lollapalooza? Running for myself no more. You gonna hit us or not? Damn. Oh. Huh. What the hell? What up, folks? Living in my own world. Didn't understand. Oh. Wait, bitch, that is a... We have to go investigate. No. I'm sick of Trump's shit, literally. Don't fucking look at me. Our tax dollars hard at work.
When's the last time you saw one of them?
1985.
Damn.
I'd be the best friend. You, whoa, whoa, whoa. What the hell is Cyrus? What the hell? I am not Jasmine, I am Aladdin. So far I have these, but whatever. Hey, get off of that. Gone. Damn. Bam. Bam.
Bam.
Bam. We can't have shit in this city. Hey, this is not the fucking point. My point is, all this goddamn Trump fencing is confusing me. Look at this. What's open?
You got entrance to the fucking gates of hell.
Shut up.
Look at this.
Side down. Whatever. By Ricky. Now I listen in the house. Even though I got married. Whatever.
So, you guys ready?
Fucking Army parade they're having today for the military parade is fucking podunk ass bullshit. I've been watching it. Compared to like the military parades they have in Russia, North Korea, China, with the fucking soldiers marching all in lockstep in perfect fucking order. Everybody's blinking at the same time. All the foots and hands are all in fucking synchronicity. And all the weapons and missiles going down the fucking avenues and stuff. It fucking pales in comparison to ours. Ours is a bunch of podunk ass, lazy, sloppy looking people. You know? All like reliving some old shit. And I mean, look at them. They're not, their feet aren't even in fucking synchronicity. Our meager attempt at trying to recreate the epicness of a Russian military fucking parade is fucking bleak. I mean, it's fucking pathetic in comparison. I mean, you motherfuckers should be ashamed of yourselves. You have no fucking, you know, it's like amateur hour, this U.S. military parade. I mean, good God.
Hell, I don't know no Jackson. I know Ben Frankie. What the hell? Gotta take my pills. I get too cranky. What the hell? And the S5 and the S80. What the hell?
1, 2, 3.
Birthday. Birthday. Birthday.
I want to start by wishing a double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump. You've been an extraordinary leader, decisive, courageous, clear vision, clear action. You have done great things for Israel. You've been an extraordinary friend to the Jewish state and to me personally. We've known each other for many years, and we appreciate what you're doing now, helping protect Israeli lives against the criminal regime in Iran. I want to wish also a 250th happy birthday to the American Army. The men and women of the armed services of the United States have protected freedom for 2.5 centuries. We would not have a free world without you. Thank you on behalf of free peoples everywhere. Today, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond.
The crowd for Donald Trump's birthday parade in Washington, D.C. is tiny. Like, just take a look at the clip. Yeah, crowd at that time was tiny. The parade was also starting 30 minutes earlier due to incoming weather, and Donald Trump and his administration said that they expected around 200,000 people. There's maybe 1,000 in that clip. How humiliating for Donald Trump, especially given that number one, it's his birthday, and number two, the No Kings protest taking place around the United States completely blew this out of the water. And I'm sure that Donald Trump is going to put out a rage-filled social media post later claiming that this was the biggest crowd that we've ever seen, but the videos tell a different story. I'm going to break all of this down on my Substack and my YouTube, link in my bio, check it out, it would mean a lot.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know?
We're in the middle of a hostile government takeover. I wanna talk about it, but I'll be late for work. And if you're saying, wait a minute, do we have to stop this? We had one, but she didn't want that lady in office.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Palantir. Secretary of State, sponsored by Carl's Jr.
These motherfuckers need drilling ceremony. Bro, that shit like a hot damn mess. Left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 right, your left, you got it, left, your left. None of you in step, you got it, left, right, oh left, fix your feet one more time, 2 times, 3 times, pump, 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 pump it up. None of y'all in step. And the goddamn mess.
Bayonet Division during their deployment to Korea and into the heart of the Iglus and sustains.
You guys, that's exactly the reason why you don't do military parade in the democratic countries. That was pretty embarrassing, you guys. Like, come on, man.
In the United States Army. As part of the buildup for World War II, cavalry and reconnaissance units were brought together to form the 1st Armored Division in 1940.
I hope those soldiers were silently protesting by marching like shit for that stupid parade. But I was in the military, and I was once a young soldier, so I doubt it. I was a medic, so I was close and personal with these mostly dudes, because I had to take care of them after their bad decisions. And what I learned about their psychology is that these 18 to 24-year-olds don't give a shit about anything except finishing the current stupid task that they've been given so they could end the duty day, go to the nearest dive bar, marry whatever woman happens to be there that night, and then with her go lease a Ford Mustang and or Camaro, depending on when the last Transformers movie came out. The ones that were smart enough to be politically minded and paying attention to what they were being told to do and how it affected their political views were smart enough not to do things like draw attention to themselves or convince everybody to march like shit in a parade. The hungover guys certainly didn't care what they were currently doing, and the ones that were thinking about stuff were not going to go around to every other battalion full of other hungover dudes they didn't know and be like, hey, this is pretty dumb, right? What if we all marched like shit? When the more likely explanation is they didn't have time to make it look good. Because it was a stupid request from a stupid man to do something that we've never done as a military before, ergo North Korean-style dictator parades. Grabbed a bunch of random officers, bust their soldiers into DC and said, figure out how to do this thing that we don't do. Do it good, though. I've been in a parade in the military, not a douchebag's birthday parade, but they grab some random National Guard soldiers on Memorial Day, throw them in a Humvee to smile and wave at civilians. If you didn't get the coveted spot of sitting during the parade and you had to march in the 16-man formation they managed to grab together, you had like a half hour in a field behind the podunk town you were going to walk through to do the DNC you hadn't done since basic. That's drilling ceremony. I'm betting they bust these people out to DC, had maybe a half a day to figure out, oh shit, these guys look terrible. And then they went, just march at your own pace. Do I wish that all of those soldiers had the wherewithal to realize they were being used as props in a narcissist little birthday bash? Hell yeah. I hope that that's the case, but it's probably just incompetence. Incompetent leaders are not a new thing in the military. They're so famous to the US military that the term fragging exists. Vietnam officers were so bad at their jobs that the soldiers under them would just toss a frag grenade into their tent because they figured that the next officer they got would probably be better off. And this is a long and storied history of incompetence going back to all the way at the beginning, before America was even formed. And this administration has a track record of firing competent officers and driving out the other ones. So while in my heart of hearts, I wish that the military chose to look like shit on Trump's birthday just to spite him, it's more likely just incompetence. Just regular old, not enough time, logistics, and the ability to command troops. And that feels less good, but it does feel apropos for the 250th birthday of the, thing that gave me asthma and PTSD and drove my friends to suicide. Happy birthday, Army!
New footage shows Donald Trump looking incredibly depressed at his birthday parade in Washington, D.C. He's sad that nobody showed up. Take a look.
In 1914, years of escalating competition between European alliances culminate in the outbreak of the First World War. The two sides engage in the savage war of attrition, defined by opposing trenches, barbed wire, poison gas, and mass casualties. The United States initially maintained its neutrality, but was eventually drawn into the conflict in 1917. Despite having less than 130,000 soldiers at the beginning, the Army eventually grew to over 4 million, with nearly 2 million.
He truly looks inconsolable. He's upset that nobody showed up to his birthday party. Nobody went to the parade. It was raining all day. And meanwhile, millions of Americans were out in the streets protesting against him. Donald Trump's birthday today ended up being one of the worst days for him of his presidency. And I enjoyed every moment, I gotta be honest.
Trump has never been more humiliated because not only did millions, if not tens of millions of people protest him on his birthday, but also the parade he threw for himself was rained on, barely attended, and when he went up to give his speech, at the end of it, he crumbled, unable to speak, slurring his words in multiple moments as cameras captured a bored crowd. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to subscribe to this channel, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we check out what Trump had to say, or really couldn't say in his speech, I want to see how J.D. Vance opened it up, because it is just humiliating.
Well, let me say to the thousands of Americans who traveled from distant towns and across state lines to be here today, this is your national capital. Welcome to Washington, D.C. We are thrilled to have you.
I apologize that we had to even watch J.D. Vance, but I find it hilarious that an event that Donald Trump and his White House were expecting hundreds of thousands of people to attend, that's their number. J.D. Vance started it by saying thank you to the thousands of Americans who showed up. He didn't even...
Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Army Special Forces.
You could see the exact moment Trump realized he was cooked. It was during his own birthday parade, when he looked out at the crowd and he realized there wasn't one. This man spent $48 million of taxpayer money on what was essentially a sad cosplay of a North Korean military parade. And he still couldn't pull a crowd. We're talking empty bleachers, confused tourists, and one guy holding up a sign saying, I thought this was a car show. Meanwhile, across the country, millions of people showed up to the No Kings protests. Like, it wasn't even close. The protests had bigger turnouts, better music, and somehow more cake. The president looked like a man watching his own political funeral in real time. The smirk faded. The eyes got glassy. You could almost hear the voice in his head saying, Melania was right. And the best part, this wasn't just a bad birthday. It was a historic momentum shift. Because when millions of people take to the streets on your big day to say, nah, we're good, that's not a protest. That's a preview. And at this rate, Trump might have accidentally guaranteed a Democratic supermajority. Not just in Congress, in everything. State houses, city councils, PTA meetings. He just handed the left the best voter turnout operation it's ever had by throwing himself a parade no one asked for. So let's keep it up. Ride this wave, organize, vote, stay loud, and let's make sure the only fireworks this guy sees next year are from his ankle monitor lighting up when he steps too far from Mar-a-Lago.
What I think the juxtaposition of the parade and the protests should also show us is that so much of their power is a technology, a false reality created by technology. That bots can't come to your birthday parade. Bots are what is majority of what is supporting them. The dead internet theory, they are using bots and technology and AI to make their supporters think there are more of them than there are, and that there are less of us than there are. But you cannot deny what happened on the streets of every single city, every state. Have you guys seen the 50 States video? I reposted it. They sang that 50 States song that we all sang in elementary school, but they showed protests in every single state. It literally made me emotional. But what they can't do is create people on the ground, real life breathing people, to come to their party. I mean, there's rumors that there's a Craigslist ad for seat fillers that may or not be true. Either way, it didn't work. The bodies weren't there. What's the estimate? Like 10,000 people? They're estimating 200,000. Bots can't come to your party. But it just shows you that they've been trying to suppress us and our voice because we are out there. We are living, breathing people, and we are actively fighting against this. And we didn't know how big we were, but now we know. And knowing is half the battle. When we also know that Oracle and Palantir were literal sponsors of the parade. Techno-oligarchs literally sponsored the parade. But you can't make fake people. And the veil is off. The veil is coming off. People are seeing through it.
This man told y'all he would end all wars. In fact, he said the United States would not be getting involved in any wars because he would bring peace all over the world. Called himself the negotiator in chief. Said he would bring peace through strength. Told y'all Ukraine and Russia was going to be over on day one. Told y'all the United States needed to focus on what's going on here and not get involved in what's going on overseas. And yet, after 5 months of L's, 5 months of not being able to figure out how to properly govern, now he is truly trying to take us into a war. It's obvious he doesn't understand how bad of an idea this would be, but I would think that something should tell him to slow down. If people like Tucker Carlson are coming out and saying, we don't need to do this. I have never heard more voices from the Republican Party coming out and saying, hey, Middle East, Iran, all that, we don't want to be involved. And the dude is sweating. I mean, it's crazy. I saw some of the stuff from the G7 summit. That man he don't know what to do. He don't know what to do about what's going on in the country. He don't know what to do about anything. He looked so flustered. Did you see him drop those documents? Did you see him drop that supposed deal he had with the UK? Like he can't keep his shit together. I don't want to be sending any of our brave men and women into a conflict with that man at the helm. I don't want to be sending any of our brave men and women into conflict with somebody like Whiskey Pete as the Secretary of Defense. Republicans, if y'all were looking for an excuse to really break ranks, this is it. Honestly, because Congress needs to stop this from happening. I'll tell you one thing, though. Even if some sort of conflict breaks out, even if that becomes a reality, it's not going to stop those elections. So anybody who's worried about that, I'm telling you now, you need to take a step back. They cannot stop what's coming. But in the meantime, this whole grasping at straws era that the Taco Man has fallen into it's kind of disturbing. I don't know if I've ever seen him look this nervous about anything. If you think your voices are not being heard, I'm telling you, go look at that man today. Go look at the videos of that man today. He's hearing the noise, all right? And it is definitely bothering him.
As a historian, can I give you the best silver lining to this whole parade, military parade thing? I started watching it. I'm going to go back and finish watching it. I put it on, had to. It's history. And I'm actually finding myself enjoying it because it's history. I know how fraught the history is. I teach how fraught the history is. Don't get me started on Vietnam and covert operations and all of it. But there's that element of, yeah, but this is history. It's the history of the uniforms, the history of the different vehicles. It's a history parade. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm all into it. Here's the best part. Trump looks so miserable. He's sitting there like the lump that he is, just like he was at the Pope's funeral or anything else. And he's sitting there schlumped like, I don't care. When is this over? How many battalions are there? How many wars are there again? He's like, this sucks.
Oh, look at that. Looks like Donnie's upset about his military parade. That wasn't the parade I wanted. Guess he really reamed Hegseth out over it. Said the tone was all wrong. He wanted something menacing, so he could pretend to be Emperor Palpatine. Literally, that's what he was envisioning. And who is he angry at? The soldiers. Of course. Because he supports the military so much, right, guys? Said they were hamming it up. Didn't like that some of them were waving. Even some of them dared to smile while it was going on. Well, he wanted them to be stone cold. Because they're supposed to be menacing. Like the most lethal military apparatus on the planet isn't menacing enough, Donnie. That's why we don't do parades. And I'm still convinced that the marching out of sync was a silent protest. But he noticed, criticized him for that. And of course, in response to this story, the White House just called Wolf a lying sack of shit. Verbatim. Classy. Classy. That looks like nobody was happy with the birthday parade.
He's kind of pissed off. I mean, he's pissed off at the soldiers. I mean, he's accusing them of hamming it up. But you know, and by that he seems to mean that they were having a good time, that they were waving, that they were enjoying themselves and showing a convivial face rather than a military face.
Interesting.
And he kind of reamed out Hegseth for this. Apparently there was a phone call and he said to Hegseth, you know, the tone was all wrong. Why was the tone wrong? Who staged this? There was the tone problem. You know, Trump, he keeps repeating himself. So that was the word on that phone call was tone. I would interpret that he wanted something menacing, I suppose, you know, something military, like something like, you know, this is the most staggering force in the world and maybe it will come for you. instead of, I think it appeared to a lot of people that there was a kind of festive air. Everybody was actually celebrating something. The 250 years of the U.S. military, probably celebrating that more than Donald Trump's birthday.
Yeah, MAGA, how you gonna hit us with the double whammy of embarrassment on this military parade? First, we're embarrassed that there even is a military parade in the United States, and then we're embarrassed by the parade itself? What the fuck was that? As a history nerd, I'm very familiar with especially the Soviet military parades and what a spectacle they were. Whatever you say about them, they were rousing, that's to be sure. Hundreds of thousands of people all in sync. Our guys weren't even really marching in sync. They were kind of just walking. Seemed pretty dejected. There was a point where there was one Jeep driving through. We couldn't get more than one Jeep. We couldn't get like a squad of Jeeps. It didn't even look like it had a windshield. The creaky Shermans are all about with the empty stands behind it. Like, what was that intended to project? Just really weird. Along with the corporate sponsors, notice one of them was Palantir, working to turn the United States into a surveillance state and a military dictatorship. A little irony's just a little too thick. Fucking ridiculous, MAGA.
These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them.
The capitalist pigs of America held a gaudy and vainglorious display of their dwindling military might this past weekend. The U.S. have not won a war since the USSR defeated Germany in 1945, and the U.S. celebrated this fact by shining all their best tanks and guns. The inferior leader, pictured here looking old, confused and tired, sat next to an expensive prostitute and a drunk television host for the duration of the parade. In total, $40 million was spent on the parade by the debt-ridden failed state, shamefully done so at a time of increasing poverty in the country. Many have noted how pudgy and overweight the Trump looks at a time when Americans struggle for food. Unable to tolerate political dissent, the inferior leader's supporters shot dead an opposition politician in one city, while in other locations, a protester was shot and a follower of the cult leader attempted to drive his car into the crowd. The propaganda exercise was swallowed whole by the dull of mind and incurious of spirit. The helpless sheep believe themselves to be the envy of the world, but the world laughs in their faces.